So a really wonderful and interesting thing has happened, at least in the US, in the West generally, over the last generation. So we've gone from, everyone complains about the divorce rate being 50%, right? Or something close to that. But there's some good news hidden there, which is that people used to be kind of locked and stuck in marriages that were unhappy, sometimes even abusive. Divorce was considered shameful. Well, divorce is shameful from the point of view of it is a vow that you're making to try and make things work through richer, poor, better, worse, sickness, health. And vows should be taken seriously. So there's nothing wrong with taking your time before you get married so that you know that you can make that vow based on friendship, based on reality, based on a willingness to change, based on respect for one another and appreciation for one another. All those qualities can last a lifetime. Getting married based on infatuation or horniness or that big feeling that some of us call love that's magical are well proven not to be great reasons to lock oneself into a commitment that is meant to last for a lifetime and can involve children. But I guess the whole Mad Men notion of relationships, the man goes out and works and brings home the bacon. The woman stays home and keeps the house nice and is bored to death and watches soap operas. What we've seen in Mad Men and what many of us lived, my grandmother certainly did, my grandfather certainly did, that is no longer enough for this new generation. And this new generation, I'm not just talking about an age group, I'm talking about anybody alive today wants more. And today, I'm so happy to be talking about this today because right now the Supreme Court, which is overall barely conservative, is for the first time accepting arguments for a federal law confirming the right of gay couples, homosexual couples to marry. So that is just, it's a wonderfully auspicious and appropriate day to talk about this. So what is this love that we're looking for? It is based on respect, on equality. It is based on a openness to change. What if my loved one is a ballerina and needs to go study in Paris for a couple of years or do her career there? Well, our relationship needs to have enough openness to allow for change. And too often the whole notion of two flames becoming one, you complete me, Mad Men locking into something, happily ever after, the part in the movies you never really see because it's so hard to depict. Because it doesn't exist. That's not what we want. We want something that includes room for loneliness, includes room for independence, includes room for creativity, includes room for, I already said loneliness, but even loneliness, doing your own thing. And then that little space between us, the Buddhist idea of love is that there's space always, we're always alone, and that's not a bad thing. With that space for loneliness, we can walk along the path together, maybe holding hands, and we can be partners and we can face outward to the world and be of benefit together. And that's where humor, inspiration, larger vision, and the flames that create passion and a sense of warmth in a long-term relationship can come from in the Buddhist tradition. So I hope that's helpful. That's what my book, Things I Would Like to Do With You, is all about. On an intellectual level, it's about presenting a new kind of relationship, one that's truly sustainable and fun to stay committed to. So thank you so much. Waylon Lewis, bowing out.